What's going on, guys? We are still here at the Darksiders 2 event, and I am talking with Ryan now, and you are the producer on Darksiders 2.
That's right.
That must be a pretty good feeling.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a great game. We're excited to have people finally get their hands on it.
Sweet. So, yeah. So this is, a pretty anticipated sequel for a new IP. Like, what's it like? Going from kind of working like out of somebody's like living room to now you've got like this, big push to like make this, sophomore title.
It's been different. Darksiders 1, it was all about just trying to prove who we were, and there was a lot of challenges just getting people to understand the kind of game we were trying to build, partially because we were feeling it out ourselves as we were building it, but then also, when you bring a new IP to the table, and especially if you're working in the action-adventure genre, there's the tendency to want to compare it to other games to make it easy to explain and easy to understand. And so we had to kind of fight that a little bit with the first project, but now that people are familiar with Darksiders 1 and it was really well received by fans and by critics, we don't really have the game's taking on its own identity. Instead of being what's it like, it's more like how does it differ from, how does Darksiders 2 differ from Darksiders 1, which has been different and also very rewarding.
Nice. Like, what did you feel like you guys had to prove with the first game beyond like just having to, kind of show that the IP is like viable as a franchise? And what do you feel that you have to prove with the sequel?
Darksiders 1, I don't really felt like we had to prove anything. At least that wasn't the mindset, because it was just, let's just make an awesome game. We weren't thinking about people's expectations of it. We weren't thinking about things in terms of what we needed to do or what people were going to think about it. We were just like, let's just do what we have to do to make a really awesome game, and then cross the other bridges when we came to them. Now it's a little different on Darksiders 2 because people do have expectations for it, because they played Darksiders 1, they liked it, and they expect it to be a good evolution of the series, and that's what we're trying to do by introducing a new character.
Awesome. Now, obviously, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse plays heavily into the theme, but, it's a really bold move for a new franchise to remove the main protagonist from a game and replace it with somebody else. I feel like people kind of saw it coming, but at the same time, were you a little bit worried that maybe fans of the first game would be like super bummed out that War wouldn't be in the second one?
There was a little bit of that concern, but I think we were pretty confident just the coolness of playing Death would take care of that for us, and we struggled. Well, we didn't struggle, but there was a lot of debate, fun debate, when we were working on Darksiders 1 about whether we were going to be using War or Death as the main character. And once we were done with War, we just all kind of thought, right, let's show Death now. There really wasn't there was no second thoughts for the most part.
Like it just felt like the natural progression for the series.
Yeah, it really did. And I think we'd like to say that Visual is a studio that was founded on ambition. So, we just felt like we needed to shake things up. And even though changing main characters is risky, nobody was scared of it. Nobody was scared about it because we just knew it'd be cool.
Now let's talk about Death a little bit. He's different from his brother.
Yeah, he's a lot more agile. He's a lot more feral. He's got more attitude. War was kind of a stand-up guy, did things because he was honor bound and did things for loyalty. And in combat, he was more about power and momentum. Death is a lot more. He's just a lot more agile. And in combat, he's moving much more fluidly and more quickly. He's more of a ferocious striker, and even the way he deals with NPCs, he's just got a lot more attitude. He's snarkier than War was, so he's a lot of fun to play with.
Smirky, he's got that street attitude.
Yeah, he's from the streets,
from the hood. He doesn't take no jive from no turkeys.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can we put that on the box?
Yeah, I would prefer that you put that on the box.
All right, we'll give you the credit for it.
Yeah. Death takes no jive from no turkeys. Blake Morse. But no, Death seems to be interacting with a lot more characters in the environment in general. Can you talk about like the voice cast at all? Like, did you have to bring on new people? Are you guys going to be announcing anybody major for any of the roles in the game?
A lot of the returning characters, I think, for the most part, are all voiced by the guys who did it in Darksiders 1. Darksiders 2, the big one is Michael Wincott, who's voicing Death. And when we laid out the original cast for Darksiders, after Joe did the concepts for the first Four Horsemen, it was strange. We looked at Death and we just kind of had friendly conversation about which actors would play which characters in a movie if there ever was one, and we all said Michael Wincott would be the guy who played Death. And so when we came to play to make Darksiders 2, we thought, well, let's see if we can get him, and worked out.
So you just kind of got your fantasy casting?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. We're really excited to have him.
Dude, that's awesome. What about the soundtrack? You guys doing anything awesome for the soundtrack?
Yeah, we have Jesper Kyd, who's a pretty well-accomplished musical composer for Darksiders 2, and we've had the time and the luxury to put a lot of effort into the soundtrack for Darksiders 2, and I think people are really going to enjoy it. He's done an awesome job.
Awesome, killer. If we're gonna hear like any death metal or anything like that?
No death metal, but I will say I'm a huge fan of video game music, and even though I hear the music in the game, I still have the MP3 tracks in my playlist at work. Like I listen to them even when I'm not working on the game. So,
Killer, man. What would you say is like your favorite aspect of Darksiders 2?
My favorite aspect is definitely the loot. It's something that we always wanted to have in the franchise, and we were going to put it in Darksiders 1, but I mean the game was so ambitious already that we really just didn't have time to do something that crazy. But now we do with Darksiders 2 because the foundation is set. So we're getting that in and being a big loot whore, and it's really because I love adventuring and exploration, and loot is the perfect way to incentivize that because every time you see a chest or every time you kill a creature, it's another pull on the slot machine. So it makes exploring very rewarding.
Nice. Now, is loot like randomly generated? Like, are we just going to have insane amounts of varieties to like what we can find?
Yeah, it is to a large degree. It's randomly generated, so there's a lot of items. It's not preset. Some items are, some of the better ones that have, that are tied to characters or have, special names. But for the most part, it's randomly generated. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite weapon that you've seen so far?
We have some really awesome hammers. I love maces. So some of the two-handed hammer weapons that we have are awesome.
Ginormous. Like, I love how over-exaggerated all the weaponry is.
Yeah, well, Darksiders and the visual style, Joe Mad's style is all about exaggerated, so naturally the hammers are huge.
Awesome, man. Well, the game is looking killer. When's it going to be rolling out?
June 26th.
June 26th. Sweet, man. We'll be keeping an eye out for it.
Great. Everybody go out and buy it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.